Right, so hello viewers, and welcome to Star Ruler 2. I'm your host, Pipaju Chu, and welcome to a new Let's Play series. So, anyhow, today we're taking a look at a very ambitious strategy game. I remember the first Star Ruler game. It's actually one of my favorite 4X titles, and well, we're gonna hit new game here and really get our game set up here. And the general theme for the Star Ruler line of games here is just the massive sense of scale of them. Namely, this is a 4X game that's solely limited by your computer's potential. Namely, you can make a galaxy here, a map if you will, that is practically unlimited in scope, provided that you have a computer that can handle it. And what I mean by that is, for example, most games will limit you by like a numerical slider or some sort of small, medium, large choice. But inside this game, you could, in theory, generate a game that's set on a map of billions and billions of systems, and the game would let you do it, although provided it take a very long time for that to appear. So with that said, yeah, you can do that there. And once you have your map set up, you can design your own ships in the designs for the tiniest fighter to the largest ship that would literally dwarf these entire systems. And you could have an unlimited number of ships. The game would play in real time, and provided that, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could find the other 5 people with supercomputers and play just a massive game over like a million stars with, of course, unlimited ships there. So yeah, definitely a very intriguing thing. And inside the sequel, what they've done here is that they've added a ton of different, I'd say, pretty innovative and in-depth options. Namely, just a ton of stuff regarding diplomacy, which is something that you don't see in these 4X games to a large extent. And with that said, I think we'll get the ball rolling here. Namely, before we just do that, I wanted to show you guys this briefly. You can customize your race depending on a perk system, in that you can buy negative and positive perks and spend it on some of these traits for your nation. The ones that I wanted to bring attention to is the simple fact that you can actually choose your FTL system inside the game, and of course the faster than light system is effectively what your ships run to get around with. Namely, one of the notable things is that you have the option of either using, like, say, gate-based systems, such as, you know, something from, say, Mass Effect or EVE Online, or something a little bit more conventional, such as hyperdrives and slipstream generators and stuff like that, where alternatively even have none at all. And in general, it's just it definitely gives you a lot of ways to play, and definitely scales up the size of play to your liking and to your capacity, of course, as well. So anyhow, I think we'll fire off a game with these settings here. I'm going to go with just effectively no perks, because they are very balancing in the sense that you have to choose one that trades quite a lot off for a very good benefit, and they quite honestly don't make too much sense unless you've already played around with the game so far. So we'll go off with this. We've generated a world here, and this game has quite fastly generated us a 1000 system galaxy, a nice little spiral thing, and from the looks of it, we've started off in the middle of one of its arms over here. So, I mean, going from this point, we have some basic tasks to accomplish. We have the goal of course, doing some early game exploration, colonization, building up some fleets, and doing some research like such. So, the game's HUD elements, oddly enough, they resemble like an internet browser. And just going over some of the basic concepts here, because they are a little overwhelming. We have space cache, which is I guess your primary resource to build things with. You get a select amount every 3 minutes, and if you don't use all of that up, it'll be effectively converted into one of these other things here. You can convert it into either influence, used to play the diplomacy game, in which influence you can use to buy certain actions, and with these certain actions you can give yourself a lot of influence. You can spy on people, you can just in general enact a whole bunch of buffs and debuffs onto you and other people. Namely, in theory, if you bought a whole bunch of these annex planets and annex system options using your diplomacy. You could, in theory, roll one of the factions inside the game solely off of the fact that you have a ton of that. You have energy used to activate artifacts around the galaxy. I'll talk a little bit more about those later on. You have FTL energy used to travel to stars, and you also have research used to really just do that. Over here, there's a bit of like a keypad, if you will, and this is just different influential options that you can buy. These refresh every 30 seconds, so it's just a nice way to access the stuff inside the middle of the diplomacy panel from here. We can also, of course, do research, design our ships. It also has an in-game wiki, really easily accessible, and a planets tab as well. But anyhow, that is all stuff for later on. Currently, we want to do some colonization, and we really just want to get the game rolling here. So let's begin. I can double click on some of our planets to bring up the overlay here to see more in depth about them. We can build ships, we can build orbital structures, or alternatively we can build buildings. Starting off the game, I want to build 2 scout ships for us to use here. And as you can see, there's a nice lovely little planet overview in which we can build things on as well. And well, this game, oddly enough, has a very high priority on colonization at the beginning of the game, and namely, it uses a unique or rather odd system in that you don't build colonization ships. You click on, you either get one of your planets with multiple billions of people. Currently we have 2.9 in our capital world here, and we effectively just allocate or use this little colonize this button to send people off to different planets, and the game will just really do that. I'm going to speed up the game here. You can speed it up to either 1/10 time or 1/10 real time or 10 times real time. And in general, what we want to do here is that we want to colonize a few planets. Namely, we want to colonize planets with meat or food and water. And how the resource system inside the game works is that ultimately you want to build up a big population so you have more labor and more people to tax to get more space cash from. And once you have that, you can then move on to some other things like colonizing planets with unique resources. And as soon as you start extracting those, that'll give you a few bonuses and points of stuff here and there as well. And how you effectively expand these planets or develop these planets, I'm just going to do a quick scouting run inside our zone of influence here, is that you want to effectively meet the required bulletins over here. Each planet will have a rating of, rather level rating of between 0 and 4. Each time you fulfill these requirements, the level of the planet goes up. And there we go. You got a nice little hyperdrive push, and our scout ship is along and going, I guess. But as I was saying, one of the things that you want to do here is that, for example, once we colonize these worlds, we want to keep a few of them at the basic levels, and we want to get a few of these increased to levels 1 and 2. And with that said, what we want to do here is that we want to get these planets. I can select them, and I can mouse over some other planets to set up trade routes to import and export different items to, and that'll be a big portion of the game to come. In the meantime, let's see. We're just exploring here using our scout ship. Looks like we found another star system here. Some nice, lovely planets producing, from the looks of it, chemicals, which I'd assume is probably used for research. A lot of food and water is the basic stuff that you can find, and we have also found a telescope here. This is one of the space artifacts, if you will. It uses energy, which unfortunately we don't have any right now, but we can use it to effectively spy on a select portion of the galaxy. And in general, we can, there'll be a ton of those options here and there. It looks like there's a nice little debris field too. That's probably something that's interactable. And from the looks of it over here, sometimes these systems, these neutral systems, will be defended by an AI, I'd say neutral or bandit fleet, as over here. Right, so it looks like second scout ship is here. Oddly enough, though, the scouts inside the game are really, really vulnerable. So with that said, I think I'll get this ship to do a bit of a redundant move over here, and we'll just sweep the adjacent areas and really just bounce around like that. So, right, doing some initial exploration, getting some colonists off the ground and going. And in general, from the looks of it, for what I've played so far out of the game, colonization you really do need to do in mass. And with that said, we'll colonize a few more planets, some more systems as well, before we get started in building up our military here. And right, our ships are landing. This planet will now be switched over to a Yeah, this planet is now colonized, but it's only level 0. Some of the strategical resources, aka pretty much everything that's not food or water, will require a certain planet level before they will start to work. So for example, before we produce electronics here, which seems to generate us some more money, we need to level up the planet to level 1. So I can do auto import resources. The resources from these 2 planets will be then siphoned off. This will make it a level 1 planet. It can now sustain 3 billion people rather than 1 billion people, and it will begin to export our resources like such. And we can also send the resources back to our home world if we'd like, though I don't believe these resources actually do anything apart from just make some cash. From the looks of it, it actually reduces building maintenance. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting system, and it of course offers us quite a few different options here and there for doing things, and it looks like we're getting research underway. So that's good for now, and I think we'll just apply that to a bit of a bigger scale. I'm gonna get some more colonists, go and colonize water and food planets over here, so then we can also colonize the chemical plant over, or the chemical producing planet in Aima 2 over there. Sorry if I pronounced the names of these places wrongly, if you will. There's yeah, it's just that. And would you look at that, just a little stream of these colony ships going everywhere. And once these areas are set up, we can just yeah, pretty much send more and more people over to these different areas here. And I guess we'll just yeah, do that. So these 2 planets should export things. This becomes a level 1 planet, and as soon as the remainder of the colonists arrive, it should then produce the chemicals over here. We can tab on the planet, see what this stuff hopefully does. I'm assuming that it's probably going to require that 3 pressure to actually produce to its full extent. And what I believe pressure is just the planet will build its own little structures here as things go along, and it'll use pressure as a sort of a resource modifier, if you will, for lack of a better term. And yeah, it'll just do its own thing. So we have a few other worlds set up here. And I think we'll just continue colonizing. And as we colonize, of course, as our population grows, our taxation rates grow. And with that said, we get the ability to buy combat fleets, amongst other things, as that increases. And I'll show you guys how we do that in just a bit. Get that ship to do its thing. Looks like over here, looks like our scout ship is actually duking it out with... ooh, yikes, that is a large neutral fleet, but it looks like they're fighting it out. I'll let them sit there for now, seeing as how it doesn't look like it's doing too much. So that's that. And let's see, what do we need here? To boost this thing up to a level 2 planet, we just need some more food. So alright, we'll wait until the colony ships get there, and that'll be that. Now, talking a little bit about the combat system inside the game. In the vanilla, or in the original game, what you do is that you effectively build a ship design here, and these can be multiple sizes. I believe these sizes are all magnitudes of each other, and you built fighters the same way that you'd build capital ships, just off of the little build menu from planets. And it was kind of clunky in that a capital ship would be treated the same way as a fighter. So what they have now is that once I select one of these planets, I can of course build these, where's our, there we go. Of course I can build these from another menu as well, but say once I build a capital ship, such as a heavy carrier, it's going to take some time to build, 9 minutes, but we can speed that up. But once we have a capital ship, that capital ship is then considered a armada leader, for lack of a better term, or a strike group leader, and we can build smaller ships to go along with that big ship, and that'll effectively form one of these blobs, if you will, and these blobs can then duke it out with each other, is the idea behind there. And yeah, that is pretty much how that's gonna do. So right now, looks like over here, our little chemical producing plant is doing pretty well. To be frank, I'm not terribly sure as to what this pressure thing does, but from the looks of it, it's just something that the game handles itself. From the looks of it, the people who live here have built 2 tech centers by themselves, and these generate 1.5 research points, and it uses 2 pressure, so from the looks of it, yeah, it just does something on there. And anyhow, from the looks of it, this planet needs some more food before it levels up. So we'll send some more food there, and that will, I'd assume, pushes it to level 2. There we go. Now it can hold 8 billion people. That's increasing even more. And let's see, and then now we have to satisfy some other level 1 resources, level 1, 2 resources, some more food before it can expand. But in general, that is how this game is going to play out. So, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, it actually does list it off here. So there's an enemy fleet in this system that that might threaten colonists there, I should say. So I don't think I'll invade that one just yet, but I want to get another food planet. So I'll send some colonists over here, and I want to get another food planet so that we can get our homeworld to level 2 and get some growth there is the thing. So we'll see what I can do there. And in the meantime, of course, we are just growing up a bigger population, and I believe with a bigger population here, there will be more pressure, so more science labs, amongst other things. These things seem to have downgraded to universities, but anyhow, the planet will just do its thing and get those planets rolling, I guess. And oh, perfect, our capital ship is built. Or our carrier, heavy carrier is what I think it's called, is built. So this is a ship leader. It has 3.3 thousand or 3.3k of hit points. It carries a 44 units of supply ammunition, and I'm not really sure what that 276 is, but it's present. Might be the fuel reserves of the ships, but I don't think so, seeing as how nowadays they just use this FDL point system. But anyhow, what we can do going from here is that now that we have our big and mighty carrier ship, I can build a few support ships to go along with it. Right now, what I want to do is that I want to build a factory on our home world, seeing as how currently I would like to produce some more ships from it for sure. And oh yikes, there's a pirate fleet as well here. Oh, I guess this will be a good time to show you guys the military portion of the game. That's right, so we built a heavy carrier. This is a flagship for intents and purposes, and over here it'll list the amount of smaller ships it can command or lead. It can command right around 400 ships, so what we can do here is that we can buy some smaller ships in select quantities for it, and in general the game will just build these ships. It doesn't really matter that we go into depth here, but I'm going to get the game to effectively build a whole bunch of these things for us, speed the game time up, and as you can see, our planets are building those minor ships at the 10 times speed. From the looks of it, there's a few problems with the actual synchronization of whether or not the animations match up to the other things. But yeah, the ship will then just be formed here. The group of ships will be just built, and then we get a fully operational fleet, I guess, coming from there. Anyhow, from over here, from the looks of it, our capital planet is it's receiving electronics. It requires some more. Let's see what it requires. It requires one more tier 1 resource before it advances in level here. So I'm going to see what we can do about solving that. Or actually, no. Where is our home world? Oh, this is our home world. Never mind. In that case, whoopsies, this one shouldn't be exporting there, it should be exporting here. This should be buffed up into a level 2 world, it should contain 8 billion people then, and yeah, the game really just goes off of that note. So there. And once our fleet is established, we can then use it to bring about the destruction of one of these other fleets, really, is the thing there. Alright, so I guess we'll have an extra factory here, so we have 2 lines of production. So hopefully these support ships will be built a bit faster, and there they are, all nice and done. I think I'll build a few more ships though. I'll build 20 heavy gunships, and we can of course edit these designs later on, but currently the numbers matter more so than the actual designs, so we're just going to build a ton of these things, and once they're ready, we can send this fleet off and we can use it to attack. Looks like some other nation, some other empire decided to name something, so that's, I guess, fine. Right, so our ships are now formed as a fleet. This fleet is effectively completely composed. So what we can do now is we can issue a movement order, and we can begin checking out the combat inside the game. So what's going to happen here is that our capital ship here, armed with a FTL generator, a hyperdrive, it is going to just effectively launch this fleet all the way through space and they're going to move as one coherent blob. Inside the previous games, I think the ships, depending on their size and depending on their amount of reactors or something, they had different speeds, so you'd have like all of these fighters arriving at once, and then the capital ships arrive like 30 minutes later. But anyhow, this fleet is going to land on grid here near the planet, and going from here they're going to land, going to make a sploosh, and we can get them to attack another fleet, and we can watch the battle really take its place, which is, I've got to say, really, really pretty. So we'll check this out, see how this goes. Ships are approaching. Once they get close enough, they will start to open up. Can do this in slow-mo too. Yeah, it's just definitely a really climatic, cinematic fight between the two groups of ships here. And of course, this gets even better once you get into like huge armadas of thousands and thousands of ships. I'm not really sure what this thing is. Influential knowledge. Looks like we're doing quite a number on their capital ship over here. And as you can see during this like little panel here, the actual subsystems of the ships will be damaged when as you brawl it out over here. And of course this leads to certain issues arise. For example, you might be able to actually knock off all of the engines on a particular group of ship, or something along those lines. And with their capital ship gone now, this fleet of ships should just start to disperse. But we're going to move in close here, and I believe that most of these ships have short-range weaponry as well. And we'll see what we can do in that regards. So it looks like this fight will actually take a bit of time before it ends here, so I think we'll just speed it up, and we'll see what is at the very end of this. I want to pick this influential knowledge thing up, and I want to see what it's all about, so let's see. What did that do? I think that might have just granted us a few points over here. That is actually an object that I haven't seen before. Huh. So I don't really know what that is, but alright. Well, anyhow, I think this is a good place to leave off on the first episode here, so I guess when we return, we'll continue our game, and really just go from there. So, I hope to see you guys then. Bye-bye for now, and be sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the first part here of our new Let's Play series.